Let me show you a MindStudio agent that generates an infographic using Nano Banana Pro based on a provided YouTube video. This YouTube video can be provided either through the browser extension, which I will demo how it works today that way, or by a user input block where a person just pastes in a YouTube video. And then it will fetch the YouTube video description based on the URL, fetch its captions, and then here it will analyze the color palette based on a color palette that's provided as an onboarding variable, so that you can have a consistent look and feel across all the graphics in the image. Then it generates one prompt that is a JSON array, and this prompt is for the one image, but each one of these JSON objects is for the specific infographic or image or text that is to be displayed in the overall broad image. You'll notice here how it has information about the color palette, information about the context of the image, and then what type of kind of graphic is it? Is it an infographic? Is it text? Like this one, you'll see it is text here. So that is the purpose of this JSON array. And what does the heavy lifting for this is Google Gemini 3 Pro, where it takes in all the data from these three preceding blocks, the video description, the captions, and the color palette, and then synthesizes that, which Google Gemini Pro is very good at, and then sends that to Gemini 3 Pro image, or Nano Banana Pro, where it takes each one of these, the entire JSON array, and generates each image for that overall image, for the overall broader image of each of the infographics, graphics, and text that are to display in it, to concisely summarize and convey that video to a college freshman level person who is a layperson and does not have any particular expertise on any given topic. So, and then it displays this into a generate asset block that has a custom user interface to nicely display the infographic, and you can zoom into it and zoom around and pan in the infographic to look at it more closely. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to run this over here from the browser extension, and before I do that, I'll show very briefly. When it's user input, the user enters the URL through a custom user interface of just one short text to provide the URL. And then it jumps to this infographic that I've been showing, this infographic workflow. Same way with the browser. The browser gets all this data, and in this particular agent, it's only using URL, and then again jumps to infographic, and then everything else remains the same. The nice advantage to this workflow or agent design is that there's less maintenance. These two first workflows are really extremely basic. I will never need to maintain those differently, but any maintenance I do or revisions to this agent will be in this one workflow, but they both perform the same regardless of whether it's from the browser or user input block. And so this is great so that I don't have to have two different workflows to maintain any changes. So I'll run this. Now here I have this interesting topic. For me, it's interesting, at least, about AI. This is by Stanford AI Club. I think it was done just a few days ago, 8 days ago. And the guest happens to be Jeff Dean, the chief scientist at Google Research and Google DeepMind. And he talks about important trends in AI. Now, I could use something like the YouTube summarizer or executive summary agent that works perfectly well if I wanted to read a text-based version of a summary. But instead, I want to have just a high-level infographic that I can either read just at a glance or share with others very quickly. So let me go find my agent that I will run here. Here we go. YouTube infographic generator. So now we have our infographic. And one thing that you can do with this design, this is the generate asset block that has a custom user interface. It displays very well in this side panel with from the browser extension. And I can expand this so that I can see this full screen, or, at least for this pane. And then I can even zoom into this and then pan around. So according to Jeff Dean, 15 years of AI trends. So here he's describing traditional CPUs and then specialized CPUs that are low precision for linear algebra. And then he describes the transformer revolution, how with an attention mechanism, it focuses on relevant context, not linear order of the words. And then has supervised, self-supervised learning, where it's filling in what the word is, like in a Mad Lib, if you're familiar with Mad Libs, where it takes that massive data and then predicts the blank to learn language patterns. And then sparse models, where it only activates 1 to 5% of the parameters necessary for the expertise for that task. And then here it shows like a chain of thought reasoning. If I have 3 apples and get 2 more, then give one away. How many do I have? 5. Then here it shows chain of thought reasoning, how to get the correct answer. Start with 3, add 2 is 5, subtract 1 is 4. So, and then how Gemini 3 Pro is multimodal with code, audio, video, and text. So this is a very quick overview of how you can get an infographic based on a YouTube video. I'll show a couple others, and I won't necessarily just wait for them to run. I'll get them started and then pause the video. So here's one by Ilya Sutskever on Dwarkish, where he's talking about moving from the age of scaling to the age of research, and this was only done 7 days ago. And this is always a really great podcast to follow. So I will run this, and let's see how this comes out. I'll pause the video until it finishes. So now we have this infographic ready, and I'll expand this to the full pane and zoom in a little bit. Here we see his thoughts on the future of AI from scaling to research. So from 2020 to 2025 was the age of scaling, where more data was better. But now in the future, in the age of research, new recipes will be better. So you could tell how the infographic does not always convey properly necessarily what does this mean, but it gives you an idea. The generalization gap, where 10,000 hours of training produced a jaggedness, where there were sometimes confused by simple tasks, where a human with little data can sample that content and become confident and adaptable, where they're sort of learning as they go. So what is a value function? In AI, it helps models judge progress without waiting for the final result. And in humans, emotions act as an evolutionary value function, such as hunger, social desire, to guide survival and learning. So in his mind, the path to superintelligence, SSI, the name of his company, is research, solving generalization, continual learning, where agents that learn on the job like humans do, and then alignment that where AI is robustly caring about sentient life. And his research taste is biological inspiration, mathematical beauty, and simplicity. So that was actually a pretty helpful, informative infographic. And now let's do one more. Here's one of a MindStudio webinar where they're teaching deep research. Dimitri and Luis are teaching deep research. This was done 7 months ago. Let me run this one, and then I will pause the video again wait for it to generate, and then I'll resume. So now we have this third one generated about the Deep Research AI Agent Masterclass, taught on April 24th, or at least that's the day in the video. Let me expand this out and then zoom in a little bit. Maybe zoomed in a little too much. So, deep research and next evolution, expert versus consultant mode. Expert mode is fast response times, relies solely on training data, and is confident but can be convincingly wrong. Don't we all know that feeling? And then there's the deep research agent, where it is a business consultant. It takes time to process, actively browses the web, and creates a plan before execution, and verifies the sources for accuracy. That is the beautiful thing about the deep research agent. So here is the autonomous workflow architecture. You do prompt enrichment first, clarifying the vaguely written user request, planning to determine what data is needed, execution of parallel searching and data gathering, the analysis that resolves contradictions and synthesizing that data, and then reporting by generating artifacts in a generate asset block. So why use deep research? It's automated competitive analysis, tracks market trends, it compares pricing structures efficiently. It does complex task handling. It is capable of running for 20 to 30 minutes to solve hard, multifaceted problems. And then it has multi-format outputs, producing comprehensive reports and visualizations and even audio podcasts. It transforms information into insight. The deep research agent moves beyond simple Q&A to perform autonomous, verifiable, and comprehensive work. So this is also a really interesting infographic on this video, and is very useful just on its own, without having to watch the whole 2 hours or however long this masterclass is. So I'm going to post this, and hopefully if you're interested, let me know if you'd find this helpful, and if you'd like this to be a template in MindStudio. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this interesting.